Please try to generate pure motivation before we start the class. 다 가장 먼저 옥지묵 기 콜라토 셰바레 다 디나네드네 지당 시네세디 암다 셈 시워네바 셈기 시디 두베기 탑람지그레 시네세나야 셈 시워 두베기 탑람스나다 셈 아니 시디 두베기 탑람지글라 시네스게요레 다디 시네디 두버제발라 두발라 당보 가리고그레 세운디 다 투탑 디른시기 지단 시네 두발라 당보 드니 류가 이숨데 다부 잡투고레 류가 이숨데 쥐어투고레 류가 이숨데 쥐네 아니 시네 야부 두투고레 류가 이숨데 쥐마도바 이나 아니 시네 두투고 말에다 류가 이숨 쥐세디 출짐레 출짐 데인자 고물루두기 드니 팀니 규담미 규군기 사신도세 출짐세디 연된 탐체 중위기 시 출림매나 연내 강에 주고 말해. 연내 강에 나야 당부 출림 야고 그래. 직시 야고 그래. 근데 개침이 이마인사 단나가도야 시내두비 연내도 귤게 버잡al 당부 직시 야고지 그래. 직시디 고숨디 다부 잡투고 그래.
Having given rise to the precious bodhicitta, we begin the session. Chine or calm abiding. This is a process to attain the calmness of your mind. So in order to do that, we have to apply several methods. And shine, or calm abiding, generally means making your mind calm. But in order to achieve that calmness of mind, to make our mind abide in calmness, we have to make sure our body, speech, and mind are also prepared. And in order to prepare our body, speech, and mind, we are going to learn some methods. And most important point when it comes to attaining calm abiding, or having our mind in calm state, is tsultim, or discipline. We have to maintain discipline. And we will learn how to do so. And before that, so far in our first session, we have also learned how to do shamatha, or the calm abiding meditation, based on our breathing. We have learned that method and we will continue to do so. And other than that, the shine, as Kimpola just explained, it is calm abiding meditation. And this practice is done in order to attain the calmness of our mind. And in order to do so, we have to maintain our body, speech, and mind, all the three doors, in discipline as well.
So every our good quality, to gain any good quality, or how to say, to get education, it really rely on the how to say, discipline. Yeah. So if there's no discipline, you cannot gain any good qualities, or you cannot gain any education. So today we are going to get some knowledge or some education about the shamatha. So there also we need some rules. So that rule, how to control our three drawers. Yeah, first we have to understand that. So if we once control our three drawers, then yes, there's a chance to get some knowledge about shamatha or calm abiding meditation. Otherwise cannot. Then 딱 고숨 뒤쪽 고구에나 고숨 나는 리 간데스 쪽으로 나 간데스 쪽으로 이 간데스 쪽으로 아니 다 류기고네 되니 신의 두버져버라 당보 류기 디시플린디 남낭 최든기 뭐 되고 그래서 가산직 랍사이 다 드링 이나야 디나 미사오 몽베에서 도디지 랍기 아니 류 남낭 최든을 되고 그래 나기 디시플린디 나나서 사일렌트 강 되고 그래 나 딱구바나 시지니 깨 카마다는 되고 그래 뭐다 디니 당보 랍기.
Now, when it comes to maintaining the discipline of the body, speech, and mind, we can start with our body. In our previous session, we learned the 7-point posture of Vairocana, the meditation posture, and that is the way to keep our body in discipline by maintaining the correct posture. And after that, the discipline of our speech is to be silent. So that's how we maintain the discipline of our speech. And once again, going back to the discipline of the body, we did go through the 7-point posture in detail in the previous session, but since we have some more new people in our session today, Kimpola will kindly repeat them very briefly, and then we'll move ahead.
lui namnang chudin dangbo shab dorji gilrung jungna yakjore menaya pemi gilrung dena digre di menaya kirans kangba naba dawdang yang dendegi gilrung dene degi habit mena ani kubja gangla dena digri dingdu kebar gang yo mare ina yang subu relax ti gore ani dangbu de gore dangbu di shab dorji gilrung am pemi gilrung niba lak ani nyamsha pungba sumba pungba jagyo pungba 중세 자구 쇼바다 깅와 갈식 당보 시바 나바디 데니 징바 중세 국 두바디제 야겐 자르와 데네 듄바디 믹 나제르 팝 세다 디스 듄딜라 남낭 추 듄스겨.
So now let's repeat the 7-point posture of Vairocana very briefly. The first point is that of our legs. We should be sitting in a Vajra posture if we can. If we don't have habit of doing so, we can also assume lotus posture. But even if that is difficult for you, maybe you have some issues that you can't sit cross-legged. In that case, you can also choose to sit on a chair. But what's most important is that your body is relaxed and straight. So with that in mind, you can arrange your legs posture. Then the second is our hands. Our palms should remain in a meditation posture. So it's one palm on top of another, and by placing that right in front of your navel, that is the second point, that is for our hand. The third is our shoulders. It is said that our shoulders and our arms should look like the wings of the vulture. So not too stiff, not too loose, but just enough for your body to remain straight and relaxed. Then the next point is our spine. It should remain straight. Our spine must remain straight. And after that comes our chin. The chin should not tilt too much towards our chest or too much outside. So it should remain in balance so that our neck also does not ache. So keep that in mind and arrange your chin. Then after that is our tongue. Our tongue should slightly roll and touch the roof of our palate. And after that is our eyes. We should be gazing towards our nose. So not at the nose, but towards our nose. So with that, it is the first is our legs, second, palm, third, our shoulder, fourth, spine, fifth, chin, sixth, tongue, and lastly, seventh, the eyes. And this is called the Vairocana posture of meditation.
락 냠샤 지용디 락 예만디 월라샤 예와디 강라샤니 태봉니디 잔니데 나나스드니 때와기 텔샤로지스 강바 도르지 길룽생데 강바니가 디네 야샤고로 에너지네 페미 길룽생데 덴데진 샤군 디그레스 디지그레 데니 니바딜라디니 디도 고바 점전에 가서 셰사이다 드린 두즈 모부가기메 데네 나기 룰데 사일런스 인데데레 디인상다 류다 나데 데니 단다 또 디셈데 류기 드니 딕시디당 나기 딕시레장 셈기 딕시디다 셈 남도기 시와 남도 셈 그래 진화다 고바니디 빵고레 셈기 딕시디데레 뭐마 가족이 신내세디 셈기 딕시디 셈디 숭고레 셈디 딕시라샤고레 셈기 딕람디 딕시디 따다 숭고레 뭐 류당 나토 말에데 이나 류당 나니디 셈기 딕시 야부네 투발라
So Khenpo just demonstrated how we should have our hands. So it's one on top of another. I don't want to confuse with left and right. So please really closely watch Khenpo as he demonstrated how the hands
one is below and right one stop. Then these two must touch and put here.
Yeah. So thank you, Khenpo. So that's how you should place your palm. And the legs, when it comes to Vajra posture, it's one leg on top of another, right? So they land right on your thighs. While the lotus posture, it's still crossing legs, but
like this, just put like this, not like this. Just like this is Vajra posture. If you fit would like this Vajra posture, but like this you also can. This is lotus posture. So one inside, one outside.
And if that is not possible, as Khenpo said in the beginning, you can sit on the chair or sit comfortably as per your convenience. And so that is the posture of our body. And when it comes to our speech, it is to remain silent, to not utter any words. So to remain silent is the discipline of our speech. Now comes the mind. Since the beginning days, whenever it comes to Shine, the practice of calm abiding, it's the practice of our mind, which means our mind is the primary focus in this practice. In the best case scenario for our mind is to not have thoughts, not have many thoughts, not be distracted, not be engaged in many thinking per se. And having said that, we may think if the mind is most important, then why is it important to maintain the discipline of our body and speech? That is because even if the mind is most important, maintaining or the discipline of body by remaining in this posture and by being silent, hence maintaining the discipline of our speech, it helps to gain the calm abiding of our mind. So in order for that, we have to maintain the discipline of our body by remaining in the meditation posture of Vairocana, and then our speech by remaining silent.
So the same gidikisung the degilava nangshi, same di jingwadang godba nigle and wangdo matawachikure, same jingju yamare, same chirola trebang goju yamare, same jingu nigle and wangdo mashurwachini sung de edila, same gidikidire. Same gidikisung diga rang shinere, digarang gomre. 인상 덴데기 셈 간디스 숭구레 시네데 간디스 두구르세 두버제버 두탑데 두당데 되는 게 있다나 시기 돌리제.
So the primary focus of our mind is to be calm, right? So in order to what makes us not calm, there are two primary points. One is feeling lazy, and the other is being agitated. That is, one, you are too inside and not able to focus because you feel lazy, and the other is you're too distracted by what is outside of you. So by not getting distracted, by not feeling lazy, by not doing both of this, you're already achieving shine, you're already achieving some level of calm abiding. So now we're going to learn the method to not get distracted, not get lazy in those points, and then focus primarily on the mind being calm.
다 시내디 두본디 두버 제바 다 시내 야부지 용어 제발라 아니 빵괴지당 랑괴지요다 그러와 빵자지다 랑자세나데 그래 다 시내지 나다나 라이바 셈기 딕시세나다 셈 시내 두발라 미바체직도 구그래 미바체직이 세디 징구니레 카탈로지 구그래 징구니당 징구니레 타르바지 구그래 그러와 다 징구니레 타르바 제발라 가리지 가르고 그래 스모디다 증근일에 탈바지발라 빵자지다 랑자세지요. 다 빵자디 녀바 나 세지 뭐시고 담고 다 녀방가디 가리가리 이마 녀다나 장아지자기 안처랑소야 도나 유근주 마 디나야 되게 당보더니 당보 녀디생이 주준 잠바 공부기 우타 남지랑 찍지요래 빼야 보죠래 데데송래 우타 남지나 녀방 나봉 두제게 템비귤 중하고 성송래 갈라고 그래서나 시내세데 녀방아 빵 두제가 당도랑나 아니 템비 귤레 중앙서 덴데 얘기라 때네 안 제부 시내 야부 용그레스 녀방아 마방 두제기 랑이 귤라 랑마도 밤 가래 랑이 귤라 땐 마도나 시내 용에 거라야 말스 수부토도 데레 칼레 카야마도 제부 간토고 말해.
So not having the laziness and not having the agitation already brings your mind to calmness. But in order to do that, there are some methods that we have to apply. And in this session, we are going to learn exactly those methods. And Khenpo will go in detail of those points one by one. And if you feel like, if you're interested, please feel free to note them down on your notebook so that you feel free to do so. And by not being lazy, by not being agitated, being free from this itself is calm abiding that we have to bring to our mind again and again. So in order to achieve that, the protector Maitreya, has said in this text called Distinguishing the Middle from Extreme. So from this text, here comes one verse about one of the methods to attain calm abiding. So this says, this comes about in reliance on its cause, the 8 applications that eliminate the 5 flaws. So I will share the quote with you, so do not worry about not noting it down right away, but we'll go in detail. So whenever it comes to any practice of dharma practice per se, there are some things that needs to be abandoned and some things that needs to be engaged upon, right? So this is the common theme in our practice, that there are some points that we have to abandon, some points we have to engage in, we have to bring inside. And unless we abandon what we have to abandon and engage in what we should engage on, it will be just physically appearing as if you're practicing, but mentally or inside your mind, nothing really is improving. So with that in mind, for the shamatha in particular, Lord Maitreya, Protector Maitreya, in distinguishing the middle from extreme, says there are 5 flaws and 8 applications. So without abandoning the 5 flaws and without applying the 8 applications, we are only putting our body and speech through some difficulty without really improving our mind. So with that in mind, we will learn the 5 flaws, we will learn the 8 applications, work on removing the 5 flaws, and learn how to apply the 8 applications.
If you not follow these rules, then how long you sit body state, there's no result, I think. But if you follow these rules, then every second you can get something. Yeah. So machine nganzu samdang wa ina nganzu minaba chig sick person ro da naba sigin ba ina ya ngagi negi dungan le tar gugu yona ani amjigi doctor gi amjigi nela poe di pangure segre nganzu pangure mendi sase rangi jula langu do rangi tengu do nela poe nela hamjigi gi kalad pa pang mendi su temba ina negi dungan le tar tugu 직바 직야래 간조야 셈 남독이다 내바래 간조 남도 망부기 간조기 동al 용되게 여러분 남독이 내 세계 나 남도 나속이 내들에 탈구고요나 되니 다나 간조 다르슈바 나신기 예방아데 파빵 칼라 두자나신 아니 뒤제 게디 수땡고 그래 댄서나 남독이 내래 탈니 셈 시대 삼가디나야 되니 시대디 토요 그래 디레마도 시대 7월 6년 6-7kg라 체가 되나 라고 말해야지. 나는 뭐 말아와라. 체리라 라요 말. 체리 개받은 줄라. 시디 7kg 체니 라면도 봐. 뺑간도 갈래 가보러 와.
Here we can understand with a metaphor or analogy that say you're sick, you're a sick person at the moment, you have some sickness. And in order to recover from your sickness, you go visit a doctor and then they tell you what to not eat or the things that you must avoid. And they prescribe you medicine that you have to take timely. So if you are not to avoid the food or the things that worse and that makes your sickness worse, and then not really take medicine on time, then you won't recover from a sickness. Likewise, currently we are sick because we are ill because our mind, we have so many thoughts, and these thoughts makes you suffer. So because of this distracting thoughts that you have in your mind, it makes you suffer, and that is your illness. And in order to recover from that illness, that is to attain the calm mind, you have this application, you have the 8 application, and you have the 5 flaws. So these 5 flaws, they act like that bad food or the food and the drinks that you must avoid to recover from your sickness. So when you know the 5 flaws, then you work towards abandoning them. Then the medicine are the 8 applications. So when you treat the 8 applications as of the medicine and apply them, then you attain shamatha, or you attain the calm abiding, which is recovering from the sickness. And unless you know these 5 flaws and 8 applications, unless you abandon the 5 flaws, apply the 8 applications, you're not going to recover from your sickness. And on top of that, we've also mentioned this in the previous session, if you are going to look outside for your to attain calm abiding, if you want to, if you are searching for calm abiding outside of your mind, it is not going to be beneficial at all. You have to look inside. That is, they say, you have to work on our mind. So keep that analogy in our mind of the sick person abandoning the food that's not good for them and applying the medicine or taking the medicine. Likewise, to attain the calm abiding, we will remove the 5 flaws and then go towards 8 applications.
게 마셰 뱅어를 욱 징읍 탱마지 겁나 양사래 콘주 사와 몽도와 ane nga zu nyamnyong ligre ta uk jingub de nga ta mo thengma ji nga zu thun thengma lenang chu gi bar gongi de gomong de ne kazan shiba nanshin uk jingub se da anabana la yoro da ne jagagi de nga zu gi de ne uk jingub de la sem de ne uk de la mikbate gor mikbate ere ma do uk la uk de mik thoya da ga ya marwa kola shape tang color ga me ba insa mik thoya ga ya mar ina ya de la mikbate ne uk de ma do song ani ya thank you samne de ne gi mikbate ne sem che jik du cha ne de ya jik ya tang ma tang ni re la de ne jik ji ni lengma ju ji gi ju ani chara su dang ma jam na de gre nge gi de ne go du de tak ji gi 참셔 드 타지기 양 캐나서 장가 잡나 양 캐서 장가 갈라 미거데 우글 미거데 뚝 말와 니 갈래 가보 여바 인상 나중에 당부 캐나서 디 망치 곰뉴 이지리 디 이상이 몽부 되시 제기메 디는 익중읍 욱중읍게 아니 시네디 미거데 직도 미거데 파소 마야와지니 랑기 우그랑라 미거데니 아니 렌랑 쭉이 버드 지기스 데니 지디 갑서 되니 욱디된 랑밥 라샤고 랑밥 생긴데 내추럴 로와 욱디 빼 링부야 남줄레 소소레 소소 우라 랑신 가데 여바딜레 링부야 소고고요 말에 딜러야 따고 쓰기도 파스 되냐 지구만 가데 여바든데랑 르르 진땅네 아니 지야네 이게 에데 탁지오디 아니 고주 참상도 양이 세골지 다당이 되니 당부들랑 간주 되니 류냠샤 다는 남낭 추된 게 모두 르르 진이 슈가스 되니 이 탁세모디 지나서 검쇼 되니 우글미 버데 참사된 게 직직이.
So, because we have many new faces in our session today, let's do the anapana. That's called in the Indic language. That is to focus on our breathing. So, visualizing our point of visualization focus point is our breathing in and out. So, let's practice that before we go forward on the 5 clause and 8 applications. And most of us are used to, or most of us know what anapana is, or the simple breathing in, breathing out practices. So when we do that practice here, Khenpo will guide us in sense that every breathing in and breathing out, we will count, or Khenpo will count 10 times, not us, but Khenpo will count for us for 10 times, where breathing in and breathing out, one cycle is 1, and again, breathing in, breathing out is 2. So Khenpo will count up to 10, and he'll count for us. And how he will do so is we have to remain, we are going to bring ourselves in the meditation posture, as explained before, the Vairocana posture, and then relax our body and, be ready to start the practice. And whenever Khenpo clicks his finger, that marks the start. So then you'll start breathing, but make sure that you are not counting the breathing. Because if you count the breathing, instead of focusing on the breathing itself, being aware of the breathing itself, you'll focus on counting the numbers. So do not do that. Just breathe in and out naturally. So you're not going to count the breathing. Khenpo will flick the finger. Khenpo will click the finger, and which marks the starting of the exercise. And at his own count, at number 10, he will click the fingers again to mark the end. So we will repeat this for some time. And likewise, when we are breathing, make sure you're just breathing naturally. You're not going to speed up your breathing. You're not going to slow down your breathing. Just breathe naturally. Just be in your natural pace and continue to be aware of your breathing. So now for some time, Khenpo will guide us. He will click the finger to mark the beginning of practice. I request, or we request all of you to maintain the Vairocana posture, and then get ready to start the breathing practice.
Okay. 대대진에 계란수 낭라 양자 지고 그래. 니 주세데 레 당부 발라 퉁퉁퉁퉁 지고 그래. 디 셈레샤 가서 라마든 그 송교래. 곰자게 서버 그래. 가지고 뉴 메디테이터와 콘주기 체도 가래. 렌장 망보. 이나야 뒤지퉁퉁 렌장 망보. 제마 곰 야구 차잖아. 렌장 뇽뇽 뒤지링보. 어디디 테크닉이래. 이집에 단나 레 당보기 뒤지링보 지와이나 셈 남도기 옹기 옹도 조와 가서 하고 말해. 하마고는 뒤지 졸라도 그래. 디자 퉁퉁 망보 지고 그래. 디자 나장 가서 될 망보 지와이나 아니 뒤지 싫어 마다 어디에 산니 수마 지기 말해. 이나에 캐란소 되니 뒤지 요겐도 다 등상 망체 뒤지 또서 이기리 딩도 요나 되니 수수기 낭라양 양게지다. 아니 수수 셈기 시딜 팽기래.
So that was the demo practice of how you should do the focusing on breathing practice as part of calm abiding. And I also recommend you all to continue practicing similarly at home or whenever you get time to. And the reason I give the very short session right now is because that's how our masters, our teachers have recommended that as a beginning practitioners, we are advised to do short sessions, but frequently. So short sessions, but many times. So as a beginner, if we jump on doing the longer session, we won't know when our mind got distracted and our mind is just outside and our time is wasted, right? So in order to not do so, not be in that position, we are recommended to do short sessions, but more times, more frequently. Likewise, as you improve in your practice, as you advance in your practice, then you are advised to do longer sessions and not that frequently anymore. I mean, you'll still do long practices, but you don't need to do short sessions frequently. So that's why as a beginner, Khenpo also demoed us just a very short sessions, and you're recommended to follow the same at home. And since we meet just once a week and actually not that many times, right? So this was a demo, so you can also continue doing that practice when you're home, whenever you can.
So in here, maybe some of you already have familiar with the śamatha, then you can do longer session also. But those who are newly practitioner, I don't know, new practitioner, so then try fast, short period and many times, okay? It will be more helpful, I think. So in our class, because we're only 1 hour, therefore I only try to do or twice maybe, short session meditation, or maybe 1 time or maybe 2 times. I don't know. Let's see. So we need some explanation here. Yeah. So that's, I think, very important. So says jhana mana हाम्रो नेपालीमा भन्छ इन्डियनमा भन्छ ngazu garla go se undi gom sengindi yakure seni iche chi watam gi dige mare manera ma onnena ra 시에니 공작고래 자네라 가는 벌써 시에니 공고래 마도 아니 매바지니 레 tamni hiche jiwa tam기 되게요 말해 인상 빼게침부래 자네라 마네라 세딜라 사당 남기 개발해 디상 시에니 지바이나 모네셈라 팽기래 지 마셰바 아니 인기래 되니 아니 지바이나 따티 태즘래 팽기 여다면 참삼을 남르기는 펜스기 기르마도 자지자 펜스기 말해랑 디즈 게침부래.
So it is said in the context also that just because you know the words of the meditation, you don't know how to meditate. But if you know how to meditate, then you can actually meditate and go ahead in a practice. So it is not enough to just know the words or just merely say that, oh, if I sit here and meditate, it'll get better. No, it will not get better unless you know how to meditate, unless you know the stages, right? So The reason we are doing more explanation in these teachings is also for the same reason. It is not enough to just sit there for a few minutes and then just practice without knowing how to practice. And I believe if I were to teach you these methods, you will know how to meditate, and hence it will really actually benefit you.
Degil gom yaguji jungwala dana ngazo gom yaungdi le gom yabgen sarba am le dangbu waina ani sem di mikba gangla te gugure de ina sem mikba gangla de tu mare ngazo ngema gomishi de yo marwa habit de yo marwa sem mikba gangla de mare sem kyuks de yang sem chödugure yang kyuks de chödugure ko kaashira yo mare di indi teni sem mikba gangla tsechik de gi chedu gomde yang jagu gure gom ngagi jamne mare kyanansu teni sem di mikba gangla teni namdo shigu gure mada ngagi gom jamne kenzolo penga gaya marwa di zang kyanansu namdo di shigu gune gom kyanansu jagu gure di indi dada dela ngegi demo da uji chik niji jabre mado mangche deshe de gugu yore deshe de ngagi peja mongbu lo mongbu jangwa gi sangye gi sungdang jeju gi tenju nang sung shakwa de nge tiks agugu yore lama ngagi gegen di zutamne töbadi ngalati lobjung dodo suyobadi anche namala sherjere di kiransla pengire ani derejini ngazo jogi isda.
So especially as beginners in our practice, we will notice that when we are meditating, we have a object of focus. And when we are focusing on this object, we'll find our mind going out or getting distracted several times. And that's totally fine. As a beginner, that's exactly your practice, to bring your mind back to object of focus. So you'll start focusing, then your mind will get distracted, go out again, pull your mind back, and then bring your mind to the focus, the object of focus. And this is how we're going to practice as a beginner. And we're also going to learn more methods. And by methods, I mean, I have, from everything that I've learned so far, the scriptures of the Shakyamuni Buddha and the other teachings, I have learned something. I have understood something. Likewise, I've also listened to the teachings from the great masters, and having listened to those teachings, having applied those teachings, I know some instruction. So these instructions and these understandings are exactly what I'm trying to pass to you. I'm trying to inform you of, so that it can be of some benefit. So likewise, on top of learning the instruction, what is also important is you have to practice at home, or you have to practice yourself. Me sitting here on a cushion and practicing, it's not going to benefit you unless you practice yourself. So I may sit here for 1 hour and practice, do the meditation, but unless you repeat it at home, unless you do it yourself, it is not really going to be that beneficial. That's why we will only do 1 or 2 short meditation sessions per se in this 1 hour long session, but we'll mostly learn how to do the meditation.
Okay, so I don't believe that maybe if I join this śamatha course, class, maybe Kembula will help us to remove our thoughts or our negative emotions. Don't believe that. I cannot do anything. So if you really want to get free from your negative emotions or your thoughts, so you have to work hard yourself. So Buddha himself said like that, yeah. Buddha cannot remove all the sentient beings, how to say, suffering, and Buddha cannot transfer his knowledge to the other sentient beings. And what can Buddha do? Buddha only can show the path, how to achieve that knowledge, sarva gyan, or of nation, or how to gain, how to eliminate negative emotions. Buddha only can guide. So same like that. I only can guide you how to meditate, how to control your mind. So you able to control your mind or not, it really depends on how you practice. Yeah, so how you give time for the meditation. So this is we have to understand. 다 나는 간주기 예방하대. 아주 당아주 곰야구 중와라 빵자 예방하대 방고 그래. 드링 예방하대 당하자기 안체를 셈을 샤로지. 예방하대 양 우단 남진나라 가리송 요리에서라나 lelo tang ni tanga nam je dang jing dang god ba tang dumi je dang du je te da nyeba ngar du do sung share din sang da nyeba nga dang ba gare sung di lelo se di chigre tanga jet ba se di ni re dene jingwa dang god ba ni chigl zi dene du mi je ba dang du je ba se nga de la da jinggo ni kha ga jina du gre nyeba du cha du gre ina yanda mang ji do zi yong de nyam du zi yong gre o de la nyeba nga se dang mo sha ge o di di tu la sha.
Now let's come back to our 5 flaws that are to be abandoned for achieving karma abiding meditation. So once again, the protector Maitreya from the text distinguishing the middle from extreme, they say, being lazy, forgetting the instructions, dullness and agitation, non-application and application. These are held to be the 5 flaws. So once again, I will put this in our chat box so you don't have to note it right now. Let me repeat the verse anyway. Being lazy, forgetting the instructions, dullness and agitation, non-application and application. These are held to be the 5 flaws. So now let's list the 5 flaws. Accordingly, the 5 flaws are: number 1 is laziness, 2, forgetting the instructions of practice. The third is dullness and agitation. Then the fourth is non-application of the remedy for the number 3, that is dullness and agitation. And the fifth is over-application of the remedy when they have not arisen. So primarily they are also just put in 2 points, that dullness and agitation, or laziness and distraction. Like there are other categories as well, but according to Maitreya, there are the 5: laziness, forgetting the instructions, dullness and agitation, non-application, and application. These are the 5 flaws that we have to abandon.
Adi dangbu lelo segendi tundri gi gegre, tundri gi opposite re. Din sa tundri meba ina yune ga yung tu mar yang. Dene uma jugba nang dawa dakba gi garisung yores na chandar kitigi. Yenden mali tundri je to sing se. Tundri sula yona yende yung gore. Tundri mena yende yung mare sung share. Derwa lelo ki yende yung mare. Shirab yona yang. Den pening jawre semle sha. 미까지 시럽 충분히 되는 준주 맞이게 내려래. 준주 맨날 시럽 로단 dra서. 로아 백에 양성부터 시럽 로단 dra버래. 펜도고 말해. 디인상 예버도 시럽이요나 디기는 준주도 요바이나 하장이 되니 만족이 시자 있는 라 개바 곰냠나 냠내야 보디 차투고요서래. 어디든지 툴을 샤고래.
The first point, the first thing that has to be abandoned is laziness. It is often mentioned in the text also that laziness is opposite of discipline. So not diligence. Apologies. The laziness is exact opposite of diligence. The Lord Chandrakirti has also said in entering the Madhyamaka that wherever diligence is practiced, there the qualities arise. So there's also a really beautiful metaphor that we must all keep in mind, that even if you are very smart, your mind is full of wisdom, if you are lazy, the qualities don't come about, the qualities don't arise. Likewise, if you are diligent, if you're persevering in the practice, then these qualities also can arise. So with this in mind, the most important thing we must know is laziness is the exact opposite of diligence.
Translation. Every education followed the diligent. Maybe like that, I don't know. Sorry, my bad English. I think, you know, in Yodamedi, Tundi Yodamela Raliger. In Santa Tundi di Yona in Juguna, Tundi di Sugi Midin Chores, Lelo Midin Choina, Lelo Yona Tundi Yomana, Kuni, Meta Chuna Gavare. Lelo never to Pangu,
So again, another analogy is laziness and diligence are like fire and water. They cannot exist together. So whenever there is laziness, you cannot be diligent. And likewise, when you are diligent, the laziness is not existing at that moment. So whenever there is diligence, whenever you practice, then the qualities come about. And as Kimball also said, whenever there is diligence, the education it comes to you, right? Like it improves. So again, wherever there is laziness, diligence cannot come about. Hence, laziness is something that we have to abandon.
곰 잡을까봐 레로 세야 되라 양 대시 잡아야나 레로 간듯이 연구를 곰라냐 레로 간듯이 연구를 쓴 대시 잡나 배나 레로 디요서나 곰이데 자운데 까마찍 잡나 람상 레로 요금 미들레 깨바 나 연구래 깡바 나 연구래 되니 고나 연구래 된 드라마나 지그래 그 레로 요타 온디 셈들 곰 잡을 쭌드디요나 쪼와디 연구래 쭌강 게라 쪼와라 쭌디 세디 셈 쪼와들라 스케비 레로 쪼와들라 쭌디 세그로 쪼와 요나 까마 나에 소르고 말해 개바 나와라 저렇게 말해 기버였대 오늘에 배낭 안아서 되는 연구도와 때문 난주기 때문다긴데 저 배낭 안아서 풋볼 따나 추진이 때문다고 도와야 길게 때문에나 추진 못다고 도와 이나야 콜라 쪼와 요건 빌라 쪼와요나 그 추진이 있으면 듣고 당해 민도 강만 나에 민도 가게 직민도 와 되는 연구요 이 인상 안아서 단다들 검자온데야 준비되요나 뭐니 이름을 같이 잡나야 강만 나기 말에 개바 나 저기요 맞다 이상 준비도 매서는 강반나 개반나 그냥 다 생각이 고몽이냐도 상이 고몽그래나 아니야 아주 포스폰지네 상이잖아 당이 지고 된 당이 지고 되는 생이 지고 돼 된데 파파파파 레로 미션이 곰디 용미도 와 인상 아 레로 생이요나 곰라야 버체 그데스 지고다 슈도 발야 버체 데스 지고.
So now let's understand laziness in context of meditation. So what are the signs that you're feeling lazy or your mind is occupied with laziness when you are meditating? So you have attained the posture, you're focusing, your mind is focused on the object. Then somewhere in our body, we start feeling some kind of pain. Our legs start hurting, we suddenly have headache, our body feels uncomfortable, just for a minute, not even for long, right? Even if you're trying to meditate just for a minute, you will feel that so many things are happening in your body. You're suddenly feeling pain. You want to postpone this session, because you're feeling so uncomfortable. The laziness starts eating you from inside, and you're not able to focus because of laziness. And if you think about it, if you are really joyful, so diligence, as you mentioned, laziness is opposite of diligence, right? And what is diligence? Diligence is being happy or being joyful to engage in a virtuous activity. So when you are so happy to engage in a virtuous activity, you are like, oh, I'm so happy I'm going to meditate. Then you are able to meditate for a longer time. Instead of when you're just meditating for the sake of it and then your body starts feeling lazy, right? And if you think about it, let's say you're not meditating. Let's say you want to watch football or whatever favorite sport that you have, or you want to watch a movie. You're so happy that I'm happy and excited that I'm going to watch a movie or I'm going to watch this sport. And at that time, even if you have to sit for 1 to 3 hours, it just goes, right? You're so excited. You don't feel pain. You don't feel anything. You just spend the 2-3 hours watching the movie or engaging in the sports. You're just fine. And if we are able to bring the same excitement, same joy also to practice, then 1 minute is very short. Then you can engage in a longer practice. Likewise, the other thing is the diligence being the joy to engage in virtue. First, you are able to sit there and, really encourage ourselves that we're going to practice. And, you sit down, be in a position and practice. And you're able to practice for a longer period of time. And Kimball, I missed one point. I cannot remember.
I think okay.
Okay.
You did all. Lasso. So really, when we are in lazy, we always postpone our virtue activities. That's really, really bad, yeah. So, our mind is, very, how to say, Chaklang Shurba, I don't know how to say, bad habit, our mind has very bad habit. So when we, negativities, we, never postpone, we do at the time. But when virtue activities come, we never do at, certainly, we don't do so suddenly, we always postpone, this is nature of sentient beings, I think, because we are, we are full of ignorant, yeah. And when we postpone, if our life is, permanent, then it's okay. We can postpone how long we like to postpone. It doesn't matter. But our life is not permanent. Our life is impermanent. It is going to cease second by second. Yeah. So life will not going to wait for that. So the virtue activities we have to do as soon as possible, and negative actions we have to eliminate, or we need to, how to say, eliminate as soon as possible. But our mind is always, happy to the negative activities, not happy to the virtue actions. So now we have to make familiar with the positive, or how to say, positive actions, virtue actions. So this is very important. And we say I will do tomorrow. Maybe if you have chance to do some virtue actions right now, but we postpone, maybe I will do later. When later is come, then we will say tomorrow, but and tomorrow, but tomorrow never come. Yeah. So I think many of Guru says that when virtue actions come, you must do today and must do now. Don't postpone, maybe later or tomorrow, so like that. So this we have to understand. I already mentioned, our mind is always have some habitual tendency with the negativities. So therefore, our mind go automatically to the negativities. Our mind cannot turn to the positive actions or positive activities because we have not that strong habitual tendencies, maybe. So then if you really understand this one, try to put now habitual tendency in the positive, and future, next life maybe will be a better, yeah. Sorry, but I don't know you. I hope you understand my English. Yeah. That dine imba inzang. Da lelu sedi. Deshi jab sasong. Jetba sedi. Jenge sedi. Da na da lapsong dangati. Mikba kandis gom gure gom kandis jabure gom jabala pangja garire langja garire sedi maje baza mashi. Tanda gom ki kapsu so mikba di jeyo mar. Shine ki kapla mikba di gegengi dine deshe mikba kandis gomla uk jingu gomna uk jinguk di maje bachi gure. 사구 곰나 신의 사구를 땡도 곰나 사이 꾸이 땡도 공부에나 사구들라 맞게 받지 고래 디 제서나 되니 곰이어요 말다 제바 쟁에세디 견디 빵마도 바로와 맞게 받 세미과 간딱 세지도 내 당화대 맞게 디나네 조 당화난 조 다나 신에기 미과데 맞게 받 데도 바이나 다 쟁에디니 파빵아 차 두도와 뭐다 디레.
So we just covered the first point to abandon, that was laziness. And then the second point is forgetting the instructions. And when it comes to forgetting the instructions, primarily in case of shamatha or calm abiding, is forgetting the instructions and forgetting your supporting object of focus. So of course you receive instructions on how to meditate, but because calm abiding is also about one pointedly focusing on one object, we must also not forget the object of focus. So yes, we have to remember, or we should not forget the instructions on how to meditate. We also must not forget the object of meditation and object of focus for our meditation period. And during our sessions, our object of meditation or object of focus is breathing. So to remembering the object is remembering that we are supposed to focus on our breathing, being aware of the breathing, right? So that is remembering the object of focus. Likewise, if the object of focus for you in your shamatha is the statue of a deity, then you have to remember that it is the statue that you are focusing on, right? So that is most important. The object of focus is most important to remember when it comes to practicing shamatha or the calm abiding.
야야 다 드네지는 양자 곰지자기 곰가마 찍스기 되길은 틱스 생각자기 아니 이 다당 지난스삼 우강을 mik바디야 부대쇼아 드네지는 곰도도 잡으려고.
So now remember, bring to your mind your object of focus, that is our breathing. And now let's practice this breathing practice one more time, and Khenpo will guide us with the fingers.
오케이. 당아도 대 참샤기 두두 조사송들이 캐나바야 독바드네나 지와드네나 question 디날 땅샹나 디그바 땅나니 니마르라 question 카시카시 랭잡 tum나 갭기 도르드나 캐나바 추즈직 담부디 송샤나.
Because we are running out of time, that's all for today. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. You can write them in the chat box, and Khenpo will get those questions and he will answer them at his own time. Khenpo?
I will answer during that class, yeah. So maybe if you have many questions, maybe one day, maybe I will give 2 or 3 questions answer maybe. So, 제 키랑 차선 될라다 샘기 시디 두베치를 내봐 인자 녜응은 강 잡다지 강투둑 녜기 제시잡 아니 키나 벌레 디와이나 양 렌잡기 아니 프라야스 생각수 앤셀 간데니고.
So as we practice also at home, we may have some questions come about, right? So do send those questions in, and Khenpo says he will try to answer them as per his understanding.
Okay, thank you everyone. Sunam de damje zigbanyen damne nyebe ranam bamje ne gega na jembalan ruba seben zolen ruan ruwa jo Janjo, Semjo, Rimburu, Manje, Pano, Yewa, Nyamba, Meba, Gone, Gondo, Bevar, Show. Well, that's all. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. If you have any question, I will stay here for another 2 minutes. Please write them in the chat box, and I will forward them to Khenpo so he can answer your questions in another sessions to come. So I'll be here for a while, but feel free to leave. Thank you so much for coming. See you next week.